What's up guys, with the addition of the new structure deck for ninjas, I decided to make a tier list and rank all of the other structure deck plus this one to see which ones are the best and which ones should you focus on and what they actually contain. There are 3 criteria which I'm gonna keep in mind when ranking all of these. 1. How good the deck actually is. 2. How expensive the archetype is and how cheap it became after the structure deck. And 3. How playable the deck actually is just by purchasing the structure decks, and do you need to go in selection packs or secret packs. Starting off with the Salamangreats, I think this is a great option. I would say it's about A or S tier. I will put it at S tier for one simple reason. The structure deck gives you 90% of everything you need to build the archetype. There are staples that you need to craft obviously, but you don't have to open the secret packs as some of the other options, and also provides a pretty good archetype overall. Moving on to the Utopia, in my opinion this is an absolute D here. I don't suggest you buy this. This was actually in the first 2 structure decks that came out in the game, in the beginning of the game, way back in its release, and it remains one of the worst structure decks because not only do you not get a complete deck and you still need to go into a secret pack, and now you need to go also in a selection pack or craft like 1 to 2 cards from the selection pack, but the deck is also pretty average at most, and you will have to spend quite a bit of gems to build a deck that is not really capable of competing with the meta. Purchase a structure deck, purchase a secret pack, and also craft some things from a selection pack to overall not get a great deck. For that reason I'm ranking it as D tier. Moving on is the Cyberdark pack. I think that this is probably a D tier again, but I would put it as C tier. I'm not sure which one to put it. Like obviously when it comes down to power level it is not stronger than Utopia's, but at the very least you don't need to spend any gems on this deck. You just need to buy the structure deck, 3 copies of, and that's it. You don't need to go in selection packs and whatnot, so I will put it at C for now, but consider it a very low C or higher D to be honest with you. Now moving on with the Dragonmaids, I actually think this is a solid A tier. Now in terms of the power level, the deck is actually A tier, but considering the fact that to build a competitive version of the deck you need to go into other secret packs or selection packs to get a bunch of other engines like the Bestial engine, which is one of the more popular options, you do need to spend some more resources to build the deck. That being said, the deck received a pretty good structure deck that made it a lot cheaper in my opinion, and I would say that you should probably go for this deck as a beginners friendly option. And to build the deck you will need to purchase a bunch of other things and build a bunch of other engines, so for that reason I don't think it's as good as the Salamangreat option when it comes down to a structure deck purely. Moving on to zombies, this is another A tier option for me. Again, this isn't an S tier deck, and it also doesn't provide everything you need to build the deck. You will still need to craft a bunch of things to make the deck playable, but it is a pretty good option to go for, and I would say that with a little bit of support and a little bit of crafting you can definitely make this deck work pretty well. Again, the reason why I'm ranking these A tier and the Salamangreat S tier is purely because Salamangreat gives you a pretty much playable deck just by purchasing it 3 copies of. It also gives the Signet Mining, which is a great card to buy, and yeah, that's it. Now moving on to the All Dice and the Pendulum pack. Basically the Pendulum pack, this is an absolute D tier for me. All Dice is not really a playable deck. The Pendulum cards here are barely usable. You could purchase it and play like some of them in a Magician Pendulum deck, but overall this pack is unnecessary to buy, and it also makes you go into a secret pack to even build a deck with it, so I wouldn't suggest you buy that one in particular. Moving on to the Cipher and the Galaxy Eyes pack. Now this pack in my opinion is again D tier, and I'm sorry but it's just not very good in my opinion. Now there are 2 reasons for that. Number 1, the deck is not really that competitive, and number 2, even if you buy the structure deck it barely contains anything that it's actually needed for the deck, and that's right, it barely contains anything good. You will still need to go into the secret pack, you will still need to pull a bunch of URs from there, you will also need to go into the recent selection pack that contains support for Galaxy Eyes, and I'm really not happy with how this structure deck is formed. But again, Utopia, Galaxy Eyes, and also the Pendulums came out pretty soon after the release of Master Duel, so you can't really expect the best quality like some of the newer ones that I ranked higher. Moving on to these Spellbooks, now I think this is an absolute garbage. Like I don't think this deck is even playable. Like what are you gonna do with that? When you consider a deck like Galaxy Eyes or Utopias, at least this is a playable deck that you can somewhat build, but no one really plays Spellbooks. There isn't really any engine that you can use those cards in besides the Endymion deck, and that really isn't a great reason to go into a structure deck anyways, so it's just not a good option, I'm sorry. And moving on to the all favorites Dark Magician. Now I would say that this structure deck is actually a B tier structure deck. Hear me out, I know that you like What did he say? Hear me out, I know that you like Dark Magician very much, I also love it, but here's why I think it's a B tier. I don't think it's below B tier, that's for sure. I mean, we can all agree on that, but comparing it to the Dragonmaids or the Zombies, I don't think it's that good as an option. Now that I think about it, it might even be A tier, but I would put it as high B tier because the deck is kinda good, but again, kinda more for the fun part. But also the Illusion of Chaos is a decent card that you can use in quite a bit of decks actually as an engine, and I kinda like that as well. The reason why I think that this is a really good structure deck is number 1 because it's an all-time all-time favorite deck for everybody. That being said, it is also a great structure deck that they built because the secret pack was absolutely terrible and it was ridiculously expensive to build this deck. I've spent like 10,000 gems to build this deck on another account, not my main account, just to play that one deck, and the structure deck now gives it to you for 1500 gems. You don't need to craft pretty much anything to make the deck work. It is also a budget friendly deck that you can build, and this, when you buy it, it actually becomes a deck. Buy it 3 times and you get a decent deck to play with. Now that I think about it, I might even rank it as low A. I mean, considering the fact that B tier is more like something in between, I kind of want to put it as A tier. And for all of you Dark Magician fans, which is me included, I'm gonna even put it as A tier. I got you. But anyways, moving on to the new Ninja structure deck, and I will put it as S tier. Absolutely, this deck is absolutely insane. It is incredibly good and it provides a lot of value for you that you can buy for 1500 gems only. That being said, the deck's pretty fun, the deck's pretty good, and I also have 2 videos that you can check out. One is the combo guide, one is the gameplay. The links will be in the description down below, so if you're interested to learn more about the deck, just go and watch them. Now there are 2 missing structure decks here, for which I'm sorry, but I'm gonna include them right now, and one of them is Blackwings. I think that Blackwings is an absolute S tier boss monster of a structure deck as well. This deck is incredible and it's probably the best structure deck if you ask me. The only one that can actually be compared with it is the Ninjas one, and I would highly suggest you purchase either Salamangreats or the Ninjas or the Blackwing structure deck if you're gonna go for any structure deck in the game. Blackwings are really good, they're a really cool synchro deck, it is a really cool combo deck. You need to learn some combos because they're kinda long, but it's a great option to buy as well as Ninjas. And the last one is the Gaia structure deck, and I'm gonna put that as B tier. It's safe to say that this is the fair option here. The deck is not terrible, the deck is not great, it is something in between. It's a fun deck to play, not particularly a great one. It is definitely not better than decks like Dragonmaid or Dark Magician or the zombie one. However, it does give you a fully playable deck, unlike some of the other ones that are lower here, and I would compare them to Cyberdragon in terms of a power level. I think that Cyberdragon might be as good as the Gaia deck, and probably Gaia could be C tier as well as Cyberdark successors deck, and I'm not sure which one is better, so I would say that they are both either C tier or B tier. It doesn't really matter. Both of them are just fine options if you're interested in playing an anime deck, but if you're interested in playing an actual competitive deck or semi-competitive deck, you would go for the S tier options or the A tier in some cases. That was it for the quick structure deck guide. Now you know which ones to buy, which ones to avoid, which are decently good, which are bad. If you're interested in a secret pack tier list, I have a video for that too, and it should appear somewhere on the screen right now. There will also be a link in the description as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. Also, I hope I helped the new players identify which structure deck options are better for them. Comment down below which structure deck is your favorite and what you think about this list. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next one.